Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Friday, September 21st. The last Friday in the Big Brother season. And we have a winner of part one of the Head of Household. I'm guessing all of you know who that is by now, but I'm going to tease it and make you wait for a second to find out in case you don't. Let's talk about the eviction of Angela. So it went pretty much like we expected. I can't recall any surprises on last night's show, except for, well, no. I mean, it didn't even the power veto competition was pretty. It wasn't very interesting. It wasn't very close. I mean, if you think about it, there were, I think, 6 rounds, right? JC was the last in the first 2 rounds, so he was eliminated. Tyler was the last in the next 2 rounds, so he was eliminated. And then Angela was the last in the next 2 rounds, so she was eliminated. So it's not that Casey won every round, it's that she didn't lose any rounds. So Casey won her power veto. And we know, I mean, the power move would have been to vote out Tyler. Casey would have given herself much better odds of winning if she had eliminated Tyler. Now, I think Casey still is the favorite to win, I think, but hey, I won't be surprised if Tyler wins. And I do think at this point we're going to come down to a final of Tyler and Casey. And I say that because the feeds did come back last night after the show. We weren't sure if they were going to because they didn't last year, and then it was like, oh, wait a minute, last year there was a Friday show and not a Sunday show. So last year they had to tape their little morning breakfast memory lane bit. They taped that first, and then they showed they did the Head of Household competition. So they had them walk down memory lane. Well, they didn't need to do that this time since the show won't be until Sunday. And so we watched them sit around and talking. And honestly, what are they going to say? Not a whole lot. At one point, JC was in the kitchen and either, I don't even remember if it was Tyler or Casey, but one of them said to the other, we have to be careful. I think it was Casey. She's like, we need to be careful and make sure that JC is not around at all if we talk. Which is logical. Which is an indication that they might be in a final 2 together, of course. But the thing is that you'd see similar chatter between Tyler and Casey. But it's very apparent that between Tyler and JC, you see it's very apparent that the conversation between JC and Tyler is very one-sided. JC, in some ways, he thinks he's been playing this game really hard. He does think that he's been playing this game. He really does. But in other ways, he's kind of been the floater. And I am not one, as I said before, to use the term floater, coaster, whatever it means. I mean, when I say floater, as a person who's kind of in the middle most of the show. JC was not in the L6 alliance. He wasn't. Never was a member of it. He was mostly in the middle, and they would use him for the occasional weird votes doing things, but he was kind of leaning towards their side. And so he got carried along. He thought he was doing stuff, and he was a willing participant. But again, in his mind, he was doing stuff. He wasn't playing a fearful game. He wasn't playing a game of, oh my gosh, I just got to dodge all these bullets. He was just, he really does think that he's been the most aggressive player. In JC's mind, he has been playing an awesomely great game. So, give him credit for that. But in reality, no, he hasn't been. So Tyler has indulged that JC telling Tyler, how he convinced Angela, or he convinced Casey to vote out Angela. Yeah, no. JC thinks I told Casey that I didn't really care who he got out, and then at the end I said you should get rid of Angela, and she did. So that means that I'm the one who talked her into it, Tyler. I saved you. So, you can't blame JC for thinking that he's been in control. It's kind of a little bit like the Emperor's clothes. The story about the Emperor's new clothes, when the tailor, and I think almost all of you know this, but there are going to be a couple that probably don't. But it's an old story. It's about a tailor coming to town and convincing the Emperor that he's the most prestigious tailor in all the world, and he sews these, makes these beautiful garments. And in reality, he's making nothing. It's all invisible. It's invisible because it doesn't exist. And yet all the people around the Emperor won't tell him that it doesn't exist. They'll be like, oh, yes, oh, it is beautiful, it is gorgeous, and of course, and JC is under this, delusion that he's controlling things, he's doing things, and no one is telling him different. No one is really, pointing, saying, no, that's not right, you're wrong, not for the most part, no, nobody is. Tyler kind of did last night when JC said, you haven't, JC's saying to Tyler, the jury hates both of us. The jury likes Casey and hates both of us. They're not going to vote for us. Casey, we need to get rid of Casey because the jury likes Casey more. Or Casey's a tough competitor. And Tyler was kind of like, yeah, like I haven't won anything. Sarcastically, like, I've done a lot. And JC just like, no, not really. Just blowing by it. The truth, JC's actually right in that I think Casey will beat both of them, no matter who she faces in the end, which will probably be Tyler. But no one's really... JC just has not... He can't figure it out. And by the way, those of you that don't know the story of the Emperor's new clothes, I think you all do, but I'm still going to finish this out. The version that I remember growing up is that, they have a big parade for the Emperor to debut his new outfit. So he's walking down the, whether he's walking down the aisle at something, or he's walking down the... We're all going to pull out, aren't we? Thanks, folks. Just had a bunch of vehicles pull out in front of me. They're walking, the Emperor's walking down his little town street, debuting his new outfit, and a little boy says, he's got no clothes on. It's a little boy, a little innocent boy, is the one who finally points out that this is, nobody is willing to say, oh my gosh, he's not wearing anything. They're all just like, oh no, sure, yes, that looks that way. Oh yes, it's gorgeous. So, anyways, that's that story. And I am thinking about passing a vehicle here, so pardon me while I concentrate for a second. All right, one down. I had a bunch of mowing tractors pull out in front of me, and I was quite annoyed. All right, there. I have mated by the vehicle. So, yes, JC has been operating under this, he thinks he's doing a lot. He's really not. But whatever, it's been entertaining. He's going to figure it out. I don't know if JC will ever admit it. I don't know if JC will ever come to realization later on that, yeah, you really weren't ever in control, JC. You did throw some votes out there. You did kind of manipulate Fessy a little bit, but in reality, no, you weren't doing a whole lot. Remember, Fessy also thought he was in control when he wasn't. Similar thing. Just that JC's ego was even bigger than Fessy's. We did finally get to the Power Veto Part 1 last night. And spoiler alert, yeah, you already know. I'm sure you do. That Tyler won Part 1. It was something to do with hanging. JC was out first. Shocking. And the idea beforehand had been that Tyler felt that he could do better in the mental competition. In the next part, which usually is mental, which is usually when things happened, order of things or the days that things happen in. And so he said that he would let Casey win Part 1, and then he would take on JC in Part 2. But in reality, he didn't. Casey fell before Tyler did. So Tyler won Part 1, so he'll sit out Part 2, which will be tomorrow. And Casey and JC will battle it out in what will be mostly a mental competition. There'll be some physical parts involved. It'll probably be timed, if I remember right. So they'll do 2 different runs. They'll have they'll run around and do it. They won't be side by side competing. I imagine Casey's going to win this easily. I don't think JC's going to win it. I mean, if I'm wrong, great. I wouldn't mind. I don't mind a final 3 competition between Tyler and JC. I'd be all for that. It's actually more of a crapshoot there. That last competition is more of a crapshoot than this one will be. This one will be an actual mental skill competition. The last one is usually did I say A or B, and they choose A or B. The house guests say these things. So that seems to me to be more of a crapshoot. And if JC wins it, well then, hey, JC's definitely in the finals. He's not going to win it. JC will select who wins Big Brother if he wins Part 3, if he even gets to Part 3. I don't think he will. I think Casey's going to win. I think it's going to be Casey and Tyler, and then whoever wins it. We see. If Tyler wins it, he should take JC. If Casey wins it, she should take KC. Or if KC wins it, she should take JC. If Tyler wins it and takes JC, Tyler wins and takes this Casey JC thing. If Tyler wins it and takes Casey, or Casey wins it, then Casey should win win Big Brother. I personally think that she's done more competition wise, and she has had better jury management only because she hasn't offended the jury as much. She hasn't backstabbed the jury as much. She hasn't broken as many deals. Now, it's possible that they all respect Tyler for making all these final 2 deals, but in reality, you have to be a little bit pissed off that you thought you were being loyal to one person and they broke their promise to you, and they got away with making multiple promises. I would think that no matter what you say, Casey didn't make any final 2 promises with people, other than maybe with JC. But no, JC even told Tyler last night that he didn't have a final 2 with Casey. So, yeah, I would think that Casey wins it. All right. I have managed to talk longer than I ever expected about last night. 13 minutes? Wow. All right. So, that's about it. We'll have our podcast tomorrow night. I don't know if Part 1 will be over yet. It may, or Part 2, it may end during our show. But we do our podcast every Saturday, so we will have our podcast tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it may or may not be our last podcast. I just don't know yet. I don't know. Again, this is not me. I will do a podcast after the finale. I am willing. You'll have to talk to Scott and Colette to make sure that they want to do one, because I'm fine with it. What else? All right, I'm done talking about Big Brother. We're going to now talk about Big Brother UK briefly. I've still not watched Better Call Saul this week. I know I'm a 2-trick pony. If I'm not going to talk about Big Brother US, or when I'm done, I'm going to talk about Big Brother UK, or I'm going to talk about Better Call Saul, which I won't even spoil Better Call Saul. So I don't know why I'm going to talk about it, because I don't want to spoil anything to do with that show. Because if you haven't seen that, you're 4 seasons behind, and you should catch up. Or you should watch Breaking Bad first, then watch Better Call Saul. So you guys, it's just a lost cause. So I don't know why I should talk about Better Call Saul. Big Brother UK. This is a season worth watching, and I've never watched a full season of Big Brother UK before, other than the celebrity. But I will take Scott's word for it, in that he's saying that this is the best season in years. And it is potentially the final season of Big Brother UK. I'm enjoying it. I really am. As a matter of fact, they're going to have an eviction tonight. There are 3 nominees. Someone is going to get evicted. And frankly, I don't want any of the 3 that are going to be up there to go. Those of you that know who's nominated, great. You know I'm not going to say who it is. But I will say, I really don't want any of those 3 to go. So, yeah. I don't know. It's good. They did a task. These aren't competitions. They call them tasks. And normally these tasks on a normal week are to work towards earning their food budget. Not a set dollar amount, but kind of they get a luxury or a regular food budget. They get different levels of a food budget depending on how well they do on their weekly tasks. But this week they are earning what they're calling big coins. It's a ripoff of Bitcoins. They're calling big coins, and the 3 who have the lowest number of big coins at the end of the day, actually day before yesterday, which was shown last night, are automatically nominated. They don't actually know that they're nominated. Actually, they didn't tell them. They may have told them today, or they may have told them yesterday at some point. But they don't really know they're nominated. Maybe they're going to spring that on them on tonight's show. I'm not sure, because tonight's show will be live. I won't be watching it. I'll watch it later, but it'll be a live eviction show. And they'll announce the 3 that are nominated, but the public has been voting already. They started voting yesterday on those 3, and it is a vote to save. And so generally what you'd expect to happen is that the least interesting of those 3 would get the lowest number of votes and thus would be evicted. It's hard to say this early on. And I'm guessing, I don't know. I think of the 3 that are nominated, and again, I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say names, but of the 3 that are nominated, one is more polarizing than the other 2. One is much more polarizing, gets in more fights or arguments. I would say that person is pretty safe. They're going to be around for a while, I think. They're going to be a big character in the house for a while. The other 2 are kind of not particularly big characters in the house. They've been there. They're interesting. I've enjoyed them, but haven't gotten to know them very well yet. That's a problem for both of them. But it's the fact that both of them are kind of that way that I'm just not sure. I just don't know which one of those 2 is not going to last. One of them is older, and they're all, this house isn't very old. It's all, I think there's only a couple of people in their 30s, maybe 3 out of 14 to start. So I'm not saying for sure that the age makes that much of a difference. But when I say older, it's like, yeah, not really. But I'm going to guess that of the 3 that are nominated, I'm trying to dance around this. I'm going to think that the oldest of the 3 is the one that'll get tossed out tonight. That's my guess. And I would like that person to stay around. I would like all of them to stay around longer. I'm interested in all of them. I like all of them in their own distinct way. So I would have liked to have seen all 3 of them. But you can't. Somebody's got to go. And I do believe it's going to be that one. So I have now talked in code. Those of you that are watching it already know what I think. Those of you that aren't watching it already have not been spoiled. And you can watch it. You can go to my YouTube channel, I Love Reality. And there's a playlist there, Big Brother UK. You can figure out where I'm getting it from and sign up for them yourselves. But as I watch them, I'm updating them. I'm trying to do it every day. I think we're 6 episodes in. I think tonight will be the 7th episode. So check it out. Watch it. It's going to be 40-some episodes. So it's worth checking out. It's enjoyable. You should check it out yourself. And I'll say check it out one more time, and I'll get off of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Not sure. Maybe. Bye-bye.